Everyone. Welcome to today's session. We are going to talk about digital detox. Is online schooling safe for children? We are live today at Aster CMI Hospitals, Bangalore. Myself, Dr. Tejasvi. I'm a pediatric specialist, Aster CMI Hospital, Bangalore. Today here we have Dr. C P Ravi Kumar with us, who's a consultant pediatrician, consultant pediatric neurologist, CCT UK, Aster CMI Hospital, Bangalore. Welcome, sir. Sir, as nowadays, because of the COVID-19 outbreak, schools have disrupted and there's been disruption of the academic year, online classes and examinations across the country. And in order to ensure that these students do not miss out on their studies, schools have moved online and forcing students to attend lectures through various gadgets. So today we're going to discuss about what are the pros and cons of online learning. And let's hear more from Dr. Ravi. Hi, sir. So the first question would be, what are the digital or online platforms and is it the new normal?
Okay, thank you Tejasvi and thank you for Aster CMI Hospital for organizing this event. Regarding digital or online platform, this is not actually anything new. For a long time, this has been going on. Initially, we started off with correspondence courses. In the good old days, you would get the material by post and you would send your work back. This was the open universities. And then came online platforms as the digital technology evolved. You had various platforms. For example, Learning Cloud, you have edX, you had Byju's, Khan's Academy, which is a very well-known free resource which has been available all the time. In addition, you now have more and more companies which are coming online. All this time, it was a gradual evolution from a physical brick and mortar structure to a digital world. This was inevitable as technology became part and parcel of our life. But Corona brought in what we call it a revolution. If you go back in history, each and every time when there has been some major upheaval in our lives, for example, World War or pandemics, it brings about some new adaptations. And this Corona epidemic or pandemic has brought in a new digital revolution. Unfortunately, as we are all very well aware of the scenario, we have no other option but to embrace the digital tech, because this pandemic is not going to end soon and nobody knows when it is going to end. And unfortunately, and it is something we need to embrace.
So, sir, do you think it is temporary or permanent, sir?
That's $1 million question. I don't think there is anything like permanent, and neither we can say it is temporary. Only with time we will be able to have a mix and match of both.
So, what are the positives and negatives of online learning, sir?
See, now the positive things, what we can say is the whole world has become our university. You can get access to the best teachers, the best learning methods, and the best universities to learn. And this can happen at your doorstep with a minimum investment compared to you going physically and studying them. Over a few years, you will notice that more and more universities will come up with masters or diplomas or degrees, which you can get online with probably part physical presence. This is already happening. A lot of UK universities are aggressively about taking up big master courses from India, basically online learning. So this was happening in the past. Now people are pushed towards it and they don't feel anything different now because this is probably the new norm. So I'm sure it has a lot of advantage and this can happen at the convenience of your doorstep. And it doesn't need your full-time involvement, unlike going into school or a college. I'm hopeful, and I think we have to see the positive sides. A lot of people will find this useful. People who were kept out of the kind of education system because of various restrictions can now access it, especially Tier 2, Tier 3 cities.
Then what is the more confusion about, sir?
Yes.
Court has some interventions and parents in schools, everybody has different opinions. So what do you say about this, sir?
See, every problem has a solution, but the solution is not uniform for everyone. It may fit some and it may not fit some. For example, now let's look at the online learning. See, many of us who have been fortunate enough to have a smart device, a laptop or computer, we did not find adapting to digital world anything different. It was just a click of a button or probably downloading an application, that's it. But if you look at majority of the population in India do not have access to the infrastructure. Simple thing is they may not have an appropriate device, maybe a laptop, they may not have it. Many of them are managing on the mobile phone. The screen is not very good for the eyes or even to learn. And internet. Cities like Bangalore, we take internet for granted and we complain when we have a little bit of slow speed. But there are many villages, many talukas where they don't have good internet facility. And also comes the affordability. A lot of children still go to government school, which is free, and they may find this huge cost burden to get this infrastructure up and running. They may buy a device, but where will they get the internet from? So it is not easy. And recently there was a report from UNICEF. One third of the children around the world do not have any access to digital learning. And majority are from sub-Saharan Africa. And the next major population is in Southeast Asia, in India. So we have to take them into account. And that is where the conflict came in. Because people who can afford are asking for digital learning, whereas nobody is giving attention to that huge chunk of children who will be left out in this race. In addition, what we also need to realize is this is not a simple solution that is fix all the problems. It needs a lot of commitment, needs a lot of attention, and it has a lot of health issues which we are going to discuss. What we need to also realize is going to school is not just about learning. It's not about learning history or mathematics. Children learn a lot of other things. How to interact with each other, develop social skills, interpersonal skills, and emotional quotient, how to handle and live in the society. This you're not going to get in digital world.
So, sir, let's focus on the health issues. So, what are the pros or upside of learning, of online learning?
Okay, when it comes to online learning, the best thing is, especially now, to keep the continuity of learning process. I accept that it is not a uniform solution to all, but at least wherever possible, children are able to continue the learning process. It gives them a focus. Now let's see the lockdown when it started in March and April. Since it was completely shut down, those who had an opportunity to work from home carried on. But those who did not, many of us felt frustrated, sitting at home, not able to do. Then imagine what's going in the minds of the children. They are the ones who are happily running around all the time, and now they're locked up in the house. They can't do anything. Maybe the best thing most of them do is watch television or spend time on the digital devices. But otherwise, now this online classes has probably given them a structure. They have to wake up, get ready for the class, attend, and also some homework, synchronous, asynchronous activity. It gives a focus for the day, and the day is better spent.
So what are the downsides, sir? What are the problems that we can foresee with online learning?
Okay, online learning from a neurology perspective or from a developing mind, what I can foresee is attention span, impulsivity, screen time is a big problem. It is as dangerous as cigarette or sugar, and child safety. We should not forget digital world is not safe, and we have to really take proper precautions to make sure our children are safe.
Sure, sir. Can you elaborate some more on attention span and impulsivity, sir?
See, attention span is how long the child can concentrate. The younger they are, their concentration time is very small. As a rough rule of thumb, what you can use is age multiplied by 5. Okay. If you have a child who is 2 years of age, multiplied by 5, that is 10 minutes. They can concentrate for 10 minutes in a go. But obviously, it is not a fixed rule. It depends upon how the child has been brought up, what is the circumstances in their home, what are the other distractions, how many members are there. So all those matters come into picture. But as a rough rule of thumb, a 2-year-old can focus for 10 minutes. Whereas a 10-year-old probably can sit for almost 45-50 minutes. So this attention span has to be taken into account when the school and the parents plan the education program. You cannot have continuous sessions. That is where the court and the government has come up with some recommendation which will help them. So they have short sessions and breaks in between. You asked about another question like impulsivity. See, there are a lot of studies which have shown the current generation. If you ask any parent, how is your child? They say, my child is very active. Some usually use the word hyperactive. What we need to understand is when we were children, we were running around happily playing on the streets or grounds without much of it was like a don't care attitude. But nowadays, the children are a little bit kind of locked up. They cannot go and play out in the streets. We don't have a park and a ground in every area. So the children are locked up into some extent. So they're invariably forced to watch television, mobile, or whatever it is on the digital devices. And a lot of studies have conclusively proven the longer the exposure to screen time, children are very impulsive. So there was a recent Canadian study where they looked at children between 8 to 11 years. Almost 4,500 children were followed up for long term, and they noticed when they spend more than 2 hours in a day, when they sleep less than 9 hours, and when they have less than 60 minutes of physical activity, they're very impulsive to the extent of bordering hyperactivity. When you combine inattention, when you combine hyperactivity or impulsivity, that will lead to what we call it as ADHD or attention deficit hyperactive disorder. But this is not to say that you spend 2 hours, you will become hyperactive or you will have attention deficit. It is pushing those children over at the border to the verge of it. So somebody is already hyperactive, somebody is already inattentive, then all this digital exposure will make it worse. So people should realize digital world is not a solution. Yes, we have to live with it, but we have to pick and choose.
Sure, sir. That is very insightful, sir. So, what is screen time, sir? That what would be an ideal screen time for children?
Okay. See, first of all, we need to understand what is screen time. Screen time means any time you spend in front of digital devices. It can be television, mobile, a laptop, a tablet, or any kind of computer devices. So all this time comes together as screen time. I think it was in 2016, 2017, American Academy of Pediatrics came up with a very good recommendation. Children less than 2 years, no digital devices, no screen time. Absolutely not required. But in case if some parents feel, okay, I want to show him some music, I want to show him some program, it has to be always with the child. Parents sitting with the child and showing them, look, that is a tiger, look, that is a river. So they need to interact and teach. Because child, many times what I see parents coming and telling, if I give my phone, my child will open any app. He will play his favorite music on YouTube. That is a one-way learning. He's repeatedly doing something and he's learning. That is actually not learning, it's a kind of rote. Say sometimes, say for example, you're going to work. You don't think today when I'm going to work, I need to pick up my bag, I need to pick up my phone, I need to pick up my wallet. It's happened. Simple example, while you're driving. You're not thinking I need to change the gear. Sometimes you're talking to someone and you're doing it because it's become like a machine. We don't want our children to be like that. So don't give them the devices. Children between 3 to 5, what we call toddlers, that is the age when they're very active. That is where they can become very impulsive, hyperactive. Cut down the screen time only if required cut down the time to less than 1 hour. If you can live without it, that is well and good. Especially in villages and all, there is a lot of open ground. Children can play relatively compared to city. They have much more activities to do. Whereas in cities, because of the traffic, both the parents working, kind of bit of life which we were living in a rush, it may be difficult. But at least wherever possible, try to do it. And later age, like 6 to 8 hours, around 1.5 hours. And more than 8 years, we say 2 hours, not more than that. But now this recommendation may be turned upside down because of the online classes. Most of the schools do online classes 40 minutes, 2 sessions with 10-20 minutes break. 2 sessions itself will take you around 80 minutes. Yeah. So almost 1.5 hours, you across the recommendation. Yes. The thing is, this recommendation was made before Corona. And nobody was expecting this kind of upheaval in our lives. Now what we need to say is, we need to adapt to the current circumstances. This is not hopefully going to be too long. Maybe in addition to the school time, you can give your children, if required, another 1 hour or whatever limited time they need to be on the digital devices. Screen time itself is a big topic and it has huge impact on the health and long-term development, particularly personality development. Children may be brighter. If you ask them, tell me who built Taj Mahal, they may be able to tell you because they've read everything on the resources. But they may not have very good interpersonal skills. They may not have very good emotional quotient. See, IQ, over a period of time, when we were children, everybody was talking about IQ. We had not heard the word EQ, that is emotional quotient. Now, we know very clearly, without any doubt, your emotional quotient, how you handle your colleagues or your neighbors or your family, that determines how your life goes. It is not just the intelligence, it is emotion. And this emotion will not come from digital devices. It has to come from another human being. Only person-to-person interaction will help, and that is where physical schooling will help.
Sure. So emotional quotient is something to be considered.
Absolutely.
So, now very important question of this session. What would be the impact, the overall impact of this on child's physical health?
Okay, when it comes to physical health itself, we all know, I'm sure you've heard the quotation, sitting is the new smoking. Sitting for the long time is not good. And parents should also make an effort. It may not be possible in every home setting, but wherever possible, children should be able to sit in what we call as 90-degree postures. Simple example, you need to have a footrest and your legs and your thighs should be 90 degree, and from your hips to the back it should be 90 degree. So the child should have proper back support and also proper foot support. Wherever possible, if they're older children and if you have a device like a tablet, say for example an iPad or an Android tab, if possible, and if you have space, children can walk around with their headphone on, provided it is safe. We don't want them to trip over the stairs or anything and have major injuries. So we want to make sure that is a safe environment, they can walk around so they don't sit for a long time. That is another thing we can think about.
That's a very important information.
In addition to sitting for a long time, the other problem we all are facing is because of the pandemic, we are all engaging, at least most of us are engaging in what we call comfort feeding. Because you're at home, you have seen in the first few months of lockdown, everybody was trying new dishes. There was some cartoon or something, it was going like a viral. Everybody was making something new. People are eating more probably with high calorie, but not burning it down. So it is a double whammy. On one hand, you're not doing anything more physical. On the other hand, you're getting more calories. So that is leading to obesity. You can see in your neighborhood.
So, yes. So, sir, then what are the precautions to be taken or to consider by the parents during these online sessions?
Okay. What we need to realize is, see, all this time, the schools, when they go to the school, the usual brick and mortar school, it gave a safe sanctuary for children. Once you drop my son inside the gate, I knew he would be fine. Majority of the schools, except a few instances, we knew they're fine. If there is a problem, the school will call us. Parents, especially working couple, could engage in their world. But online world is unregulated. Whatever regulations are there, it is still relatively unregulated, unsafe, and it is quite dangerous if you are not aware. So it is not just a simple thing to buy them a device and get them online. You have to be very careful. Unfortunately, when you buy a device, a lot of parents do a lot of research, which is the best one I need to buy for my child. I'm sure most of us have done it. We try to see where is the best place to buy, which is the best one, what is the best price. But nobody gives enough time, or majority do not give enough time on what are the precautions I need to take once my child gets this device. How can I make sure that he's safe? If you look on the net, recent UNICEF report, the amount of children who have gone online has increased by more than 50%. Remember, this number is not 100% accurate. That is based upon whatever data they have got, 50% increase. It may be more, unlikely to be less, but it's definitely more. Children are at risk of cyberbullying, and then there is also risk-taking behavior, particularly older children. They want to explore. They're curious. So they want to see what is new, what is this, what is there on YouTube. So you watch something on YouTube, there are some recommendations on the site, they may want to click. They are at a high risk to get exposed to inappropriate content that is not appropriate for their age. And then there is something about, I'm sure people have heard about sexual abuse, emotional abuse. This even can happen online. So we need to be very careful, and parents should give more time. Probably if they've spent 1 hour to find a device, they need to spend 2 hours to make sure this device is safe for the child.
So, what is your conclusion, sir? And how do you think we can be safe during this pandemic times from all this online schooling? And what are your recommendations regarding the same?
So now I think we have all realized Corona is not going to go anywhere. It's going to become part and parcel of our life. Invariably, we are bound to embrace the digital world. And depending upon our personal circumstances or our life, it depends on how much you want to take it on. But what we need to be aware is we need the safety part we cannot compromise. Just like we learned the way to use a computer, just like the way we learned to use a smartphone or how to send a message on smart WhatsApp, how to use the Facebook, we have to learn about digital safety. That is very important. That my conclusion is, yes, you're going to use the digital world and you cannot shy away from digital online platforms, but learn to be safe.
Sure, sir. So what would you recommend, sir, to be safe?
Okay, with respect to children, particularly with schooling and online classes, what I would suggest is parents have to look at the physical posture and seating. As we said, 90-degree and good back support wherever possible. And it is not necessary that you go and buy a high-tech kind of seating. Even a normal seating with a simple pillow, a blanket to provide support to your lumbar arches, a footrest, a simple stool, whatever you have in the house is enough for the child to rest his foot. That is enough. You don't have to buy any latest equipment. Also make sure children drink enough water. Hydration is very important. Then there is something called 20-20-20 rule. 20-20-20 means for after every 20 minutes, you look somewhere 20 feet away for 20 seconds. So you relax your eyes. So most of the schools have now said, switch off the video, just listen. So the child only looks at the video, but is listening, but you can encourage him after every 20 minutes. He just looks at 20 feet away and does it for 20 seconds. Just relax. That is one thing. Ensure the video cam is not on unless it is absolutely required. Most of the schools have told the children to switch it off and make sure it is off. And if you are going to buy one, most of the companies are now coming up with a case that will cover the camera, because hackers can get into the video camera even you have technically switched it off. So there is a case that will close. You can look on any online platform and you will find it. And second thing is use screen time monitor. So a lot of devices are there. Even computers can tell you how long you were online. You have to just explore the settings, and you can, if you do not know, just go on YouTube, and if you search how to set up screen time on this particular device, say for example, Microsoft platform, you will get the information. It's not difficult to find the information. The most important thing is to have separate login for the child. See, most of the computer, if you have one device in the home, that is enough. You don't have to buy 10 for everyone. You buy only what is required, but know how to smartly use it. If you have one device, there has to be a separate login for the child. When you log in as an adult, there are settings where you can choose you are giving control to the child. That is called parental controls. There you can choose the age of the child, what are the websites or platforms that the child is allowed. Because most of the companies are now bound to say this is suitable for this audience. Just like in movies. You may have seen movies adult only or 18, 13 above, so that you will have websites also tagged. So you can choose a setting so the child cannot go beyond that age. For example, simple thing is Microsoft Teams. It gives you complete control on what the child uses. If the child goes to a new website, you will get an email. And you can even also set up to get a message. Your child is asking for this, do you want to permit? And when you permit, you can click a button on your phone, wherever you are in your office, allow for 30 minutes, allow for 1 hour. You have the settings. I'm pretty sure the same kind of settings is available in every platform. You have to just explore. Simple Google search or simple search on the YouTube video will give you enough information. Each platform has parental controls. Please use it. Lastly, so many times now parents, many of them may be working from home. You may be in the same room. You're in different corners. Father is working in one end, mother may be working in the other end, and the child is on the computer. You are busy in your own world, but always make sure that your corner of eye watches what the child does. They should be out of your sight, because most of the school says we don't want parents for obvious reasons. That's fine. You stay out of sight, but not out of your mind. Keep an eye on your child.
That's a very good message, sir. So I think we've answered all the questions from the viewers, sir. I think that's a wrap and it's the end of our session. I hope we answered all your questions and that our session was helpful. If you have any more questions, please drop in our comment box. Our experts will get back to you soon. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your valuable time.
Do you have any questions?
No, we don't have.
Okay.
We have covered most of it.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Tejasvi.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.